The beeping sound woke Tom from his half-sleep at the monitoring station. His eyes blinked open, focusing on the flashing red light on his console. 3 years working at Earth's deep space listening post, and this was the first time he had seen that particular light come on. "Hey, Director Reed, you need to see this," Tom called out, his voice echoing through the quiet station. Director Reed walked over quickly, her coffee splashing slightly as she moved. She looked at the screen, her eyes growing wide. "Is that what I think it is?" she asked, putting her cup down. Tom nodded. "It's a signal, not from Earth or any of our ships. It's coming from the Proxima Centauri system." The pattern repeated, a series of mathematical sequences too perfect to be natural. Then came strange sounds that seemed almost like words, but in no human language. "Get me General Walker at Space Command," Director Reed ordered. Within hours, the signal was being studied by the best minds on Earth. The alien words were broken and filled with static, but the meaning was clear enough. Help, danger, dying. "We have to respond," said General Walker during the emergency meeting at Space Command headquarters. "This could be first contact. Or a trap," said Defense Secretary Jones. "Either way, we're sending our best," General Walker replied. "The Dauntless is ready for launch." Captain Mark Davis stood on the bridge of the Dauntless, Earth's newest military spacecraft. He was tall with short brown hair and a serious face that rarely smiled. Next to him stood his second-in-command, Alex. "All systems are green, Captain," Alex reported. "The crew is ready." Mark nodded. "Set course for Proxima Centauri. Let's see who's calling for help." The Dauntless broke orbit around Earth, its powerful engines glowing blue against the blackness of space. It was the first time humans were traveling to another star system. No one knew what they would find. "Play the message again," Mark ordered as they traveled faster than light, using the new jump drive. The alien voice filled the bridge, strange and high-pitched. The ship's computer translated. "Help us. They are coming back. We cannot survive another attack." "What do you think they look like?" asked Lisa, the ship's doctor. "No idea," Mark replied. "But they're in trouble, and we're going to help them." After 3 days of travel, the Dauntless arrived at Proxima Centauri. The crew gasped as they saw the scene before them. A strange ship, shaped like a giant snowflake, drifted around the red star. Parts of it were broken, with pieces floating nearby. "Life signs?" Mark asked. "Yes, Captain," replied Ben, the science officer. "But they're very different from ours. Their body temperature is much lower." "Open a channel," Mark ordered. "This is Captain Mark Davis of the Earth ship Dauntless. We received your distress call. We are here to help." For a long moment, there was silence. Then a face appeared on the screen. It wasn't human. It looked more like a crystal with eyes. When it spoke, its voice sounded like wind chimes. "You came," the alien said, clearly surprised. "You traveled between stars to help us." "Yes," Mark said simply. "That's what we do. We help those in need." The alien was quiet for a moment. Then it spoke again, its voice shaking. "What are you?" "We are humans, from the planet Earth," Mark replied. The alien made a sound like breaking glass. Was it laughing? Crying? "You don't understand," the alien said. "Your bodies, your ship, you come from a death world." Mark frowned. "What's a death world?" "A planet that should not support life. High gravity, toxic atmosphere, extreme temperatures, deadly radiation." The alien's crystal body trembled. No species from such a world has ever joined galactic society before. The alien leaned closer to its screen, its crystal eyes reflecting starlight. "We called for help," it whispered. "But what have we done? What have we awakened?" Captain Mark stood silently on the bridge of the Dauntless, thinking about the alien's words. Death world. The term bothered him. "We need to board their ship," he finally said. "They need medical help and repairs." "Captain," Alex said quietly. "Did you notice how they reacted to us? They seem afraid." Mark nodded. "Be gentle. Remember, we're here to help." The boarding team prepared in the shuttle bay. They wore standard spacesuits with magnetic boots for walking in low gravity. Dr. Lisa checked her medical supplies one last time. "Ready?" Mark asked his team of 5. They nodded, and the shuttle launched toward the alien snowflake ship. The alien vessel was beautiful up close. Its surface looked like ice, but was actually a metal unknown to humans. The team found an entry point, a hexagonal door that opened as they approached. Inside, the gravity was very light, about 1/5 of Earth's. The air was thin but breathable. Mark removed his helmet, and the others followed his example. "Hello," he called out. His voice echoed through the crystal hallways. They walked forward, their magnetic boots making loud clicking sounds on the floor. The hallways were tall and wide, with strange writing on the walls that glowed blue. Suddenly, a group of aliens appeared. They moved slowly, floating more than walking. Their bodies were like human-sized crystals with thin arms and legs. Their eyes were large and had no pupils. When they saw the humans, they backed away quickly. "We come in peace," Mark said, raising his empty hands. "We're here to help." The aliens made high-pitched sounds to each other. One moved forward. It was taller than the others and had a blue glow in its center. "I am Leader Tal," it said, its voice like bells ringing. "Why do you walk so heavily? Why do you move so fast?" Mark was confused. They were walking slowly and carefully. "This is normal for us," he explained. The aliens whispered among themselves again. Leader Tal moved back. "You are damaging our floor with each step," it said. Your feet cracked the surface. Mark looked down. Indeed, tiny cracks appeared where they walked. The magnetic boots and Earth-normal walking pace were too much for the delicate alien material. "We're sorry," Mark said, turning off his magnetic boots. He began to float slightly. Better. The aliens seemed less afraid now, but still kept their distance. "Your help is appreciated," said Leader Tal, "but your presence is disturbing." Dr. Lisa stepped forward, but moved too quickly. The aliens flinched as if expecting an attack. "Sorry," she said, slowing down. "I'm a doctor. I want to help your injured." Leader Tal hesitated. "Our medical chamber is this way." They followed the aliens, trying to move slowly. In the medical chamber, several injured aliens lay on crystal beds. Their bodies had cracks, and some pieces were missing. "What happened to you?" Mark asked. "The Mord attacked us," Leader Tal explained. "They hunt us for our bodies. Our crystals are valuable to them." Dr. Lisa examined an injured alien, scanning it with her medical device. "May I?" she asked, reaching out to touch a crack in the alien's body. The alien trembled but nodded. Lisa touched it gently, but the alien screamed in pain. Everyone froze. "Your touch is too hot," Leader Tal exclaimed. "Your body temperature will burn us." Lisa backed away quickly. "I'm so sorry. I didn't know." Mark realized the problem. Humans were not just strong in the aliens' eyes. They were dangerous by simply existing. Their body heat, their walking pace, their breathing, everything about them was frightening to these fragile crystal beings. At that moment, the ship's alarm sounded. Leader Tal's body flashed red with fear. "They have returned," it said. "The Mord. They tracked your ship." Mark touched his communicator. "Dauntless, this is the captain. Prepare for combat. We have company." Mark floated back to the Dauntless with Leader Tal, leaving the rest of his team to help the injured aliens. In the shuttle, he noticed how carefully Tal moved, as if the slightest bump might break him. "Tell me about the Mord," Mark said as they traveled. "They are hunters," Tal explained, his crystal body glowing softly. "Not as big as you humans, but to us, they are giants. They collect our kind for our crystal bodies." "They're slavers," Mark said, his voice hard. "We don't allow that where I come from." Tal's body changed color slightly. You would fight for us? You barely know us. That's what humans do, Mark replied simply. When they reached the Dauntless, Tal moved even more carefully. The Earth ship's metal corridors and bright lights seemed to make him nervous. Your gravity is so strong, Tal said. How do you live like this? Mark hadn't thought about it. The Dauntless was set to Earth normal gravity. This is normal for us. In the meeting room, officers gathered around a table. Food and water were provided. Mark picked up an apple and bit into it. Tal made a strange sound. What's wrong? Mark asked. You consume solid matter. Tal seemed shocked. Yes, don't you eat? We absorb energy from light, Tal explained. The idea of putting objects inside your body is... He didn't finish, but his color changed to a pale green. Commander Alex showed Tal the scans of approaching ships. Are these the Mord? Tal's color darkened. Yes, 3 battleships. We must surrender or run. Or fight, Mark said. Impossible, Tal replied. They are too strong. You haven't seen us fight, Mark said with a small smile. The meeting was interrupted when Dr. Lisa called from the alien ship. Her face appeared on the screen, looking worried. Captain, we have a problem, she said. One of the aliens was hurt when Jeff accidentally bumped into him. Their bodies are incredibly fragile. Was it serious? Mark asked. A piece broke off, Lisa explained. But here's the strange part. I put it back, and it's already healing. They can repair themselves. Mark looked at Tal. You can heal quickly. Yes, if the damage is small, Tal said. Can't you? We heal too, but more slowly, Mark explained. And we bleed when cut. Tal's color changed again. You have liquid inside you. And it comes out. A loud alarm sounded. Alex looked at the screen. The Mord ships are in range. They're sending a message. The main screen showed a new alien. This one looked like a large insect with 4 arms and dark red eyes. Its voice was deep and harsh. Crystal ship, surrender now. Give us your cargo and your people, and we may let you live. Mark stepped in front of the camera. This is Captain Mark Davis of the Earth ship Dauntless. The ship you're threatening is under our protection. Leave now. The Mord leader seemed surprised to see a human. It stared for a moment before speaking. What kind of creature are you? No matter. 2 ships or 1, you will all submit. Mark turned to his crew. Battle stations. Prepare main weapons. Tal watched in horror as the humans moved quickly, their bodies strong and sure. When Mark gave orders, his voice was calm but firm. These humans were preparing for war like it was normal. Captain, Tal said quietly, you don't understand. The Mord are feared throughout this sector. Their weapons can cut through our strongest materials. Mark nodded. And you don't understand humans, Tal. We come from a world where everything tried to kill us. Predators, weather, disease, even the air can be deadly in some places. We survived it all. The Mord ships launched their first attack. The Dauntless shook slightly. Return fire, Mark ordered. As the human ship's weapons powered up, Tal realized with growing fear and wonder. The Deathworlders were not afraid. They were excited. The Dauntless shook as the Mord ships fired again. This time, the hit was stronger. Shields at 80%, reported Ben from his station. Mark looked at the screen showing the 3 enemy ships. They were arranged in a triangle formation, trying to surround the Dauntless. Target the lead ship, Mark ordered. Fire main cannons. Bright blue beams shot from the Dauntless, hitting the Mord ship in the front. The enemy ship's shields glowed red but held. Tal watched all this with wide crystal eyes. Your weapons are stronger than I expected, he said. That was just a warning, Mark replied. We haven't really started fighting yet. The communication screen lit up again. The Mord leader appeared, looking angry. You dare to attack us? We will destroy both your ships and take what we want from the wreckage. Mark leaned forward. Last chance. Leave now, or see what humans can really do. The Mord leader made a harsh laughing sound. Your threats mean nothing. We have conquered hundreds of worlds. What can one ship do against our fleet? Mark smiled slightly. Alex, show them. Alex pressed several buttons. The Dauntless turned quickly, much faster than a ship its size should move. It fired all weapons at once at the lead moored ship. This time, the enemy's shields failed. Parts of the ship began to break apart. Impossible, the moored leader shouted. That was just one ship, Mark said calmly. Imagine what a fleet of human ships could do. Tal made a sound like tinkling bells. Mark realized it was a sound of amazement. Our turn, Mark said. The Dauntless moved quickly between the moored ships, firing at all of them. The enemy ships tried to follow but were too slow. Suddenly, the ship shook violently. A console exploded, sending sparks everywhere. A crew member fell to the floor, his arm bleeding. Tal backed away in horror. You're leaking. Mark helped the injured crew member up. Medical team to the bridge, he called. Then he turned to Tal. It's just blood. We'll fix him up. The moored ships regrouped and attacked together. The Dauntless took more damage. Shields at 40%, Ben reported. One more hit like that, and they'll be down. Mark thought quickly. We need to separate them. Prepare for gravity sling. Captain, Alex warned, that maneuver puts tremendous force on the ship and crew. We haven't tested it with passengers. Mark looked at Tal. Can your people handle high gravity for a few seconds? Tal's color darkened with fear. No, it would crush us. Then take Tal to the zero-G chamber, Mark ordered, and tell the team on the crystal ship to secure the aliens. After Tal was safely in the zero-gravity room, Mark returned to the command chair. Prepare gravity sling, he ordered. All crew, brace for high-G maneuver. The Dauntless flew directly toward the nearest moored ship, then suddenly curved around it, using the planet's gravity to accelerate. The force pushed everyone hard into their seats. Warning lights flashed as the ship's structure strained. But it worked. The Dauntless came out of the turn at incredible speed, passing close to two moored ships. At that range, their shots hit hard, disabling both ships' weapons. The last moored ship tried to escape, but the Dauntless was too fast now. It caught up and fired one last time. The enemy ship's engines failed. On the screen, the moored leader appeared again, but now he looked afraid. What are you? He asked, his voice shaking. We're humans, Mark said. Remember that name. And remember this. Anyone who hunts innocent beings will answer to us. The moored ships slowly retreated, damaged and defeated. For the first time in their history, they had lost a battle. In the zero-G chamber, Tal watched through a window as the enemy fled. He had never seen anyone stand up to the Mord before, let alone defeat them. These humans were indeed terrifying. But they fought to protect, not to conquer. 2 days passed since the battle with the Mord. The Dauntless floated beside the crystal ship, helping with repairs. Mark sat in his office, reading reports from Earth. The news of first contact had spread quickly back home. Captain, Alex said from the doorway, Leader Tal is here to see you. Tal floated into the room, his crystal body shining with blue and green colors. He moved carefully, still nervous around humans. Captain Mark, Tal said, my people have talked. We are grateful for your help, but we are also concerned. Mark put down his tablet. About what? About you. About humans. Tal's colors shifted to purple. You defeated 3 moored ships without help. You walk under gravity that would crush us. Your bodies contain liquids under pressure. You eat solid matter. You are. He paused. You are what the galaxy calls Deathworlders. You keep using that word, Mark said. Why is it bad to come from a challenging world? It's not bad, Tal explained. It's frightening. Most life in the galaxy evolved on gentle worlds. No extreme temperatures, no dangerous animals. No poisonous plants. Your kind is rare. Mark thought about Earth, with its hurricanes, earthquakes, predators, and diseases. Humans had fought to survive since the beginning. We want to form an alliance with Earth, Tal continued. But many of my people are afraid. They worry what will happen when more humans enter the galaxy. Before Mark could answer, Ben rushed in. Captain, we're picking up new signals. 6 ships just entered the system. Mark and Tal hurried to the bridge. On the main screen, 6 ships appeared, 3 like the Crystal ship, and 3 completely different. Those are Vril ships like ours, Tal said, pointing to the first 3. The others are from the Galactic Council. They must have received our distress call too. A new face appeared on the screen. This alien looked like a tall, thin humanoid with silver skin and no hair. This is Council Member Nex, the alien said. We received the Vril distress signal. Who are you? Captain Mark Davis of Earth Ship Dauntless, Mark replied. We answered the same call. Nex's eyes widened. Earth. You're human? Yes, Mark said, getting tired of the reaction. Is that a problem? Nex spoke quickly to someone off-screen, then turned back. We request an emergency meeting. The Galactic Council must discuss this development. 4 hours later, Mark sat at a large table on the council ship. Tal sat beside him. Across the table were aliens from 5 different species. None looked anything like humans. Some floated, some crawled, and others had many arms. Let me understand, said Nex, who led the meeting. You humans answered a distress call from a species you never met, traveled to another star system, and defeated 3 moored battleships. That's right, Mark said. Why? Asked another council member, a green alien with 4 eyes. Because someone needed help, Mark replied, confused by the question. The aliens talked among themselves in low voices. Finally, Nex spoke again. Captain, you must understand our concern. Your species is unknown to us. You come from a high-gravity world with extreme conditions. Your physical capabilities are troubling. We mean no harm, Mark said firmly. We just want to explore and make friends. The Mord have dominated this sector for centuries, Tal added. Humans defeated them in one battle. The council members looked worried. Nex's silver skin shimmered. We must inform our governments, Nex said. Until then, the human ship will be watched by council vessels. Are we prisoners? Mark asked, his voice hard. No, Nex replied quickly. But the galaxy must prepare for humanity. As Mark left the meeting, Tal followed him. They fear what they don't understand, Tal said. Give them time. Mark nodded. Earth is sending more ships. Not to fight, but to learn and to help. Tal's colors brightened. I believe you, Mark, and I will help others understand. Humans may be terrifying Deathworlders, but you use your strength to protect, not harm. As they walked toward the shuttle, Mark smiled. That's a start. A week passed. 3 more Earth ships had arrived, taking positions around the crystal ship of the Vril. The Galactic Council ships remained nearby, watching the humans carefully. So far, things had been peaceful. Until now. Captain, multiple ships entering the system. Ben called out. Moored signatures, lots of them. Mark hurried to the bridge. On the screen, he saw 15 moored battleships approaching. Behind them was a massive vessel, twice the size of the Dauntless. That's a moored command ship, Tal said, his crystal body turning pale. They've never used one in this sector before. The communication screen lit up. A new moored leader appeared, larger than the previous one. His insect-like face showed no emotion. I am High Commander Drac of the Moored Empire, he said. The ships you damaged were merely scouts. Return the crystal beings to us and leave this system, or be destroyed. Mark stood tall. This is Captain Mark Davis. The Vril are under Earth's protection. We will not abandon them. Drac's red eyes narrowed. Then you will die with them. The screen went dark. Mark turned to his crew. Contact the other Earth ships, Battle Formation Alpha. Protect the Vrel ship at all costs. The 4 Earth ships moved into position, creating a shield around the crystal vessel. The Council ships backed away quickly. They're not going to help us, Alex said. We don't need help, Mark replied. We faced worse odds. The moored ships attacked from all directions. The space around them lit up with weapons fire. The Earth ships fought back, their advanced shields holding. Hours passed. The battle continued without pause. Inside the Dauntless, the crew worked tirelessly, making repairs even as they fought. Captain, you need to rest, Dr. Lisa said, finding Mark still at his post after 20 hours. No time, he said, his eyes red from lack of sleep. Tal watched in amazement. You haven't slept or eaten in nearly a day, he said. How are you still functioning? Humans can go days without sleep if needed, Mark explained. It's not healthy, but we can do it. Tal's colors shifted to deep blue. More Deathworlder abilities. A massive blast hit the Dauntless, stronger than any before. The lights flickered. Their command ship is using its main cannon, Ben reported. Our shields can't take another hit like that. Mark studied the enemy formation. The command ship stayed in the back, protected by the smaller vessels. We need to take out that command ship, he said, but we can't get through their line. What about a small team? Suggested Tom, the security chief. We could use a shuttle, slip through during the next attack, and board their command ship. It would be suicide, Alex said. Mark nodded slowly. Maybe. But it might be our only chance. He stood up. I'll lead the team. I'm coming too, Tom said. 5 humans prepared for the mission. They wore battle armor and carried weapons. As they walked to the shuttle bay, Tal followed. You're going to board a moored ship? He asked, his voice shaking. No one has ever done that and survived. Then we'll be the first, Mark said with a grim smile. The shuttle launched during a heavy attack, using the chaos as cover. It flew quickly toward the moored command ship, avoiding enemy fire. Their hangar is open, Tom said. We can get in there. The shuttle landed hard in the moored ship. The team rushed out, firing at surprise moored soldiers. They fought their way through corridors, heading for the bridge. An explosion knocked Mark against a wall. A piece of metal cut his arm. Blood flowed, but he kept moving. You're injured. Tal's voice came through his communicator. He was watching through Mark's helmet camera. It's nothing, Mark said, continuing to fight. The team reached the bridge. High Commander Drac was shocked to see humans inside his ship. He had never imagined they could get this far. Surrender, Mark ordered, his weapon aimed at Drac. Back on the Vril ship, the crystal aliens watched the humans fighting while injured, going without sleep, and continuing despite pain that would kill most species. The stories would spread across the galaxy. The Deathworlders were coming, and they were unstoppable. High Commander Drac stared at the human before him. Blood dripped from Mark's arm, yet the captain stood firm, weapon aimed at the moored leader's head. Impossible, Drac said, his voice low. No species has ever boarded a moored command ship. Humans do the impossible every day, Mark replied. Order your fleet to stand down. Drac looked at the other humans. Despite injuries, they controlled the bridge, holding moored officers at gunpoint. These strange beings from an unknown world had done what entire alien armies could not. You have won this battle, Drac admitted. But the moored empire spans hundreds of systems. We will return with thousands of ships. Mark stepped closer. And we'll be waiting. Humans protect their friends. Remember that. Drac slowly reached for his communication device. All ships, cease fire and retreat. The battle is over. Throughout the system, moored ships pulled back. On the Dauntless, the crew cheered. The Council ships moved forward cautiously, not believing what they had witnessed. Mark's team returned to the Dauntless, bringing Drac as a prisoner. In the meeting room, representatives from all ships gathered. Council member Nex still looked shocked. In all recorded history, Nex said, no one has defeated a moored fleet of this size, let alone captured a high commander. Humans are full of surprises, Mark said with a tired smile. His arm was bandaged, but he refused to rest until the meeting was finished. Leader Tal stood beside Mark. His crystal body glowed brighter than ever. When we sent our distress call, Tal said, addressing the council members, we hoped for help. Instead, we found heroes. Yes, humans are Deathworlders. Yes, they are strong and tough in ways that frighten us. But they use that strength to protect. Nex's silver skin shimmered and fought. Captain Mark, your species is concerning. You fight while injured. You board enemy ships. You take risks no rational being would consider. These are troubling traits. But effective ones, added another council member, speaking for the first time. The Mord have terrorized this sector for generations. Now they fear something more. Mark looked around the room. Earth wants peace. We want to join the galactic community, to learn and share knowledge. But we will always defend those who cannot defend themselves. Drac, still under guard, laughed harshly. Your kind won't be welcomed. You're too dangerous, too unpredictable, too human. That's not your decision to make, Mark replied calmly. 3 days later, ships from across the galaxy arrived. Word had spread quickly about the strange Deathworlders who defeated the Mord. Some came out of fear, others from curiosity. On the Dauntless, Mark prepared to welcome the first official diplomatic team from Earth. His wounds were healing well, another trait that amazed the aliens. Ready for the next step? Alex asked, standing beside him. Ready, Mark said. But it won't be easy. Some will fear us just for being human. Tal approached, floating gently. I will help them understand. My people will tell others how Earth sent help when no one else would. As Earth's diplomatic ship arrived, representatives from 50 alien species watched. Some were afraid, some curious, but all recognized that the galaxy had changed forever. A new chapter begins today, Mark said quietly. Tal's colors shifted to a warm gold. The Deathworlders have arrived in the galaxy, he agreed. And nothing will ever be the same. The humans stood tall, ready to face whatever challenges waited among the stars. They were terrifying to behold, but they were also the best hope for a new, safer galaxy.
The vast darkness of space carried many secrets, but none more terrifying than the approach of the Void Hunters. Like a swarm of metal locusts, their ships moved toward the peaceful Lumari homeworld, leaving only empty husks of planets in their wake. In the Grand Council chamber on Lumeria Prime, Ambassador Tren stood before the gathered leaders, his blue skin pale with worry. The holographic display behind him showed the enemy fleet's approach, a mass of red dots creeping closer day by day. We have tried peace talks, we have tried hiding, we have tried running, Tren said, his voice shaking. The Void Hunters do not care. They see only resources to take. Our people will be gone in weeks. Elder Vora, the oldest member of the council, leaned forward on her hover chair. What options remain, Ambassador? Our weapons are no match for theirs. Tren took a deep breath. What he was about to suggest was either their salvation or a new kind of doom. There is one species in the galaxy that might help us, a species the Void Hunters have not yet met. He paused. The Deathworlders. The chamber erupted in shocked whispers. Everyone knew of the Deathworlders, the strange beings from a harsh planet called Earth. Their world had high gravity, extreme weather, deadly radiation, and countless predators. These conditions had created a species unlike any other in the known galaxy. Ambassador, you cannot be serious, shouted Counselor Mech. The Deathworlders are savages. They fight wars against their own kind. They eat the flesh of other creatures. Their entertainment involves simulated violence. Tren nodded. Yes, and that is exactly why we need them. Captain Alex Stone of the Earth Defense Fleet stood on the bridge of the EDF Resilience, reading the strange message again. The universal translator had done its job, but the content still seemed unbelievable. They want our help? She asked, looking at her second-in-command, Lieutenant Marcus Lee. Lee shrugged. Apparently being scary Deathworlders has its advantages. Stone wasn't sure whether to laugh or be offended. Since humanity's first contact with alien life 50 years ago, they had been viewed with a mix of fear and fascination. Earth was classified as a death world, a planet so dangerous that most spacefaring species couldn't survive there for long. Humans had spent centuries thinking they were weak compared to what might exist in space. The truth had been surprising. They were considered dangerously strong, unnaturally tough, and frighteningly resilient. The Lumari are peaceful traders, said Dr. Patel, the ship's xenobiologist. If they're asking for military help, they must be truly desperate. Stone looked at the star map showing Lumari space, over 30 light-years away. How soon can we reach them? Communications Officer Rivera spoke up. The Lumari don't know about our jump drive technology. They think we're limited to their speed of travel. They're expecting a response in weeks, not days. Perfect, Stone said with a smile. I like surprising people. Back on Lumaria Prime, Ambassador Tren stood in the planet's largest communications array. After much debate, the Council had approved his plan, though many still thought it was madness. Message sent, said the technician. But remember, Ambassador, it will take them at least 3 standard weeks to reach us. The Void Hunters will arrive in 10 days, Tren nodded grimly. Then we must hold out as long as we can. The Deathworlders are our last hope. As he walked back to the Council chamber, Tren wondered what the humans would be like in person. The limited cultural exchanges had painted a confusing picture. They were a species of contradictions, capable of great violence but also great kindness. They fought terrible wars yet built hospitals for their enemies afterward. Most importantly, they never gave up, not ever. On Earth, Admiral Jack Turner listened to Captain Stone's report with growing interest. The idea of humans being called upon as saviors was new and strangely satisfying. Take the Second Fleet, he ordered. 6 combat ships should be enough to assess the situation without appearing as invaders ourselves. Stone nodded. And if we need to fight, sir? The Admiral's face grew serious. The Lumari are asking for our help. They're facing extinction. You have my authorization to engage these Void Hunters if necessary. Show them what Deathworlders can do. 3 days later, the Lumari detection systems registered something impossible. 6 unknown ships had appeared at the edge of their solar system, moving fast. It can't be the humans, Counselor Mech insisted. No known species could travel that distance so quickly. But it was. The ships broadcasted their identity on all frequencies. Earth Defense Fleet, responding to the Lumari distress call. Ambassador Tren felt a mix of relief and new worry. The Deathworlders had arrived in days, not weeks. What other surprises did they have? Captain Stone ordered her fleet into a defensive formation around the Lumari homeworld. From orbit, she could see the beauty of the planet, vast oceans of purple, water and land masses covered in silver vegetation. The Void Hunters will be here in 7 days, Lieutenant Lee reported. The Lumari are sending a representative to brief us. Stone nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility. Her fleet stood between these peaceful beings and total destruction. Her people had been feared as dangerous primitives for so long. Now they would show the galaxy that being from a death world had its advantages. Send a message to the Lumari Council, she ordered. Tell them the Deathworlders have answered their call, and we've come ready for war. As the message was sent, Stone looked at the stars where the enemy would soon appear. Humans had been fighting to survive since they first climbed down from trees. These Void Hunters were about to learn what that meant. They were about to meet the real predators of the galaxy. The Lumari delegation ship approached the human vessel with caution. Inside, Ambassador Tren tried to hide his nervousness. The human ship, called Resilience, was unlike any he had ever seen. Its dark hull was lined with what could only be weapon systems, and its size dwarfed the largest Lumari cruiser. Remember, he told his team, the humans come from a high-gravity world. They will appear strong and may move quickly. Do not show fear. When the airlock opened, Tren got his first. Look at the Deathworlders. Captain Alex Stone stood at the front, slightly shorter than he had expected, but with a straight posture that spoke of confidence. Her skin was tan, her hair dark and cut short. Behind her stood several other humans of varying appearances, all wearing similar dark uniforms with patches showing Earth's symbol. Ambassador Tren, Captain Stone said, stepping forward and offering her hand. Thank you for coming aboard. Tren hesitated, then remembered the human custom of handshakes. He reached out, surprised by the warmth of her skin and the firmness of her grip. Captain Stone, the Lumari people thank you for answering our call so quickly. We did not expect you for several more days. Stone smiled. We have technology we haven't shared with the galactic community yet. Jump drives that allow faster travel than standard methods. One of Tren's assistants gasped. The implications were clear. Humans were more advanced than anyone had realized. Please, Stone continued, let's move to the briefing room. We need to know everything about these Void Hunters. Lieutenant Jake Wilson sat across from the Lumari military commander Nira, feeling like he was in a strange dream. The alien's slender form and large, gentle eyes made her look almost fragile. Yet she was in charge of defending an entire planet. Our weapons are mainly defensive, Nira explained, showing holographic images of Lumari ships. Designed to disable, rather than destroy. The Void Hunters use this against us. Wilson nodded, studying the images carefully. And these Void Hunters, what makes them so dangerous? They strip planets completely, Nira said, her voice dropping. Resources, atmosphere, even the core. Nothing remains. And they use living beings as processing units. Wilson felt a chill. Processing units? They connect living minds to their machines. The mind stays alive but serves only to process information. Nira looked down. It is worse than death. Wilson's face hardened. Humans had feared aliens would come to Earth and do terrible things. Now humans had the chance to stop exactly that kind of horror from happening to others. Show me their attack patterns, he said. Everything you know about how they fight. In the command center of the Resilience, Captain Stone watched as her crew worked alongside the Lumari. Cultural differences were causing problems. No, that won't work, she heard Engineer Maria Reyes say to a Lumari technician. Your shields are too passive. They need to adapt actively to different weapon types. The Lumari technician looked confused. But that would require constant adjustments. The energy cost would be worth it if it keeps you alive, Reyes interrupted. On Earth, we learned long ago that sometimes you have to spend resources to survive. Stone moved through the room, noting similar conversations happening everywhere. The Lumari were peaceful, advanced in many ways, but they lacked the survival instinct that came from evolving on a dangerous world. A commotion near the tactical display caught her attention. Lieutenant Lee was arguing with a Lumari military officer. What's happening here? Stone asked, approaching them. Captain, Lee said, I suggested we place our ships in ambush positions using the asteroids as cover. The Lumari believe this is dishonorable. The Lumari officer, his blue skin flushing purple with emotion, looked at Stone. Combat should be direct. To hide and ambush is the way of predators, not civilized beings. Stone took a deep breath. On our world, those who fought honorably often died quickly. We learned to use every advantage to survive. And right now, survival is what matters most. The room fell silent as the Lumari all stared at her. We will not fight the way you expect. Stone continued, addressing all of them. We will not stand in neat formations. We will not follow the rules of engagement you're used to. We will fight like the Deathworlders we are, and that is why we will win. Ambassador Tren watched the humans with growing concern. He had called them for help, but he hadn't fully understood what that meant. They approached problems differently, thought differently. They planned for multiple failures, always assuming the worst might happen. They argued openly, challenging each other's ideas in ways that would be deeply offensive in Lumari culture. Yet there was something powerful in their approach. Something his people had lost long ago, if they ever had it. Your people seem troubled, By our methods, said a voice beside him. Dr. Patel, the human scientist, had approached quietly. We are not used to thinking as you do, Tren admitted. You prepare so much for death and pain. Patel smiled gently. Because we respect how easily they can come. Our history is full of disasters, wars, and narrow survivals. We don't want to experience those things again, so we plan carefully to avoid them. A sudden alarm cut through their conversation. Every screen in the command center flashed red. Captain, called out Communications Officer Rivera. We're picking up a distress signal from the outer colony on Lumari 3. Captain Stone moved quickly to the main display. What's happening? The screen showed chaos, fires, explosions, panic. A Lumari face appeared, covered in dust and fear. They're here, the colonist cried. The Void Hunters, they came early, they're already… The transmission cut off. Stone turned to her crew, her face set with determination. Battle stations. The Void Hunters just made their first mistake. They started this fight before they knew who they were fighting. She looked at the frightened Lumari officials. This is what we came for. Now you'll see what Deathworlders can really do. As the humans rushed to their positions with practiced efficiency, Ambassador Tren realized that the scary stories about humans had missed something important. Yes, they were dangerous. Yes, they thought about violence in ways his people couldn't understand, but they were using that danger, that violence, to protect others. Perhaps that was the greatest surprise of all. Space above Lumari 3 exploded with light as the first human ships arrived. Captain Stone had split her fleet, sending 2 ships ahead while the rest prepared a surprise she hoped would change the course of the battle. From the bridge of the scout ship Arrow, Lieutenant Jake Wilson watched the Void Hunters at work. Their ships were black and angular with sharp edges that seemed to cut through space itself. 5 of them surrounded the small Lumari colony, drawing resources from the planet with long, glowing beams. They haven't noticed us yet, Wilson said, his voice tight. The sight of the colony below sickened him. Already large patches of land had been stripped bare, turned from lush silver forests to dead, empty rock. Weapons ready, he ordered. Target the extraction beams first. Beside him, Commander Nira of the Lumari Defense Force looked pale. There are still people down there, she whispered. Wilson nodded grimly. That's why we need to move fast. Ready, fire. The Arrow and its sister, ship Dart, released a barrage of missiles that streaked toward the Void Hunter vessels. At the same moment, Wilson sent the signal that would alert the rest of the fleet to their position. The Void Hunters, caught by surprise, took several direct hits before their defenses activated. 2 of the extraction beams flickered and died. They're turning to engage, reported Tactical Officer Green. 5 ships against our 2. Wilson smiled. Let's see how they like fighting someone who fights back. Aboard the Resilience, Captain Stone received Wilson's signal. All ships execute Operation Ambush, she ordered. Move now. 4 human vessels, hidden until this moment among the asteroids surrounding Lumari 3, powered up their engines and shot toward the battle. The Void Hunters, focused on the 2 ships that had attacked them, didn't see the new threat until it was too late. They're splitting up, said Lieutenant Lee, watching the tactical display. 3 heading for Wilson, 2 turning to face us. Stone nodded. Perfect. They're reacting exactly as we predicted. The Resilience shuddered as its main guns fired, striking one of the Void Hunter ships head-on. The alien vessel's shields flared bright blue, but held. Their defenses are strong, Lee noted. But not perfect, Stone replied. Hit the same spot again. Concentrate all fire. In the engine room of the Resilience, engineer Maria Reyes worked frantically alongside her Lumari counterpart. The ship rocked with the impact of enemy fire. Their weapons are targeting our power systems, the Lumari engineer said, his voice shaking. They're using some kind of energy-draining beam. Reyes checked the readings and swore under her breath. The Void Hunters were smarter than they'd hoped. Reroute power through the secondary systems, she ordered, and get ready to switch to the backup generators. She tapped her communicator. Captain, Their weapons are designed to drain our power. We need to adjust our shield frequencies or we'll be dead in space within minutes. Do whatever you need to, came Stone's reply. Just keep us fighting. Reyes turned to the Lumari engineer. I need your help. Your people understand energy manipulation better than we do. The blue-skinned alien looked surprised, but nodded. What do you have in mind? Something they won't expect, Reyes said with a determined grin. We're going to turn their own weapons against them. The battle raged for hours. The human ships moved in unpredictable patterns, confusing the Void Hunters, who were used to enemies that followed standard combat protocols. The Deathworlders fought like nothing the galaxy had seen before, taking risks, executing maneuvers that put tremendous strain on their ships and bodies, and refusing to retreat even when damaged. On the Arrow, Wilson held tight to his command chair as the ship spun to avoid enemy fire. Status report. Shields at 30%, Green responded. Hull breaches on decks 3 and 4. Medical reports 12 injuries, no deaths. A Void Hunter ship appeared directly in front of them, its weapons charging. Evasive action, Wilson shouted. But before the Arrow could move, a brilliant beam of energy struck the enemy vessel from above. The Resilience had arrived. Thought you could use some help, Captain Stone's voice came through the comm system. Wilson smiled despite the chaos around him. Always happy to see you, Captain. Stone's voice turned serious. We've found a weakness. Reyes modified our shields to absorb their energy weapons and redirect the power. Target these coordinates. Wilson relayed the information to his weapons officer. The Arrow's main guns fired, striking the Void Hunter ship at exactly the point Stone had indicated. To his amazement, the enemy vessel's shields collapsed entirely, leaving it vulnerable. All ships, Stone broadcast, target the junction points where their hull segments connect. That's their weak spot. In the Lumari Command Center, Ambassador Tren watched the battle with a mixture of hope and horror. The humans fought with a ferocity he had never witnessed, yet there was precision in their violence, a calculated efficiency that was somehow more frightening than random destruction. They're winning, Counselor Mech said in disbelief. The Deathworlders are actually pushing the Void Hunters back, Tren nodded. But at what cost? The human ships were taking heavy damage. Their crews must be suffering. A cheer went up as one of the Void Hunter ships exploded in a spectacular blast. Then another. The remaining 3 enemy vessels began to pull away, retreating from the battle. They're running, someone said in awe. Tren wasn't surprised. The Void Hunters had never faced resistance like this. They were used to easy victories against peaceful worlds. The humans had changed the rules of the game. His communication device chimed. It was Captain Stone. Ambassador, she said, her face streaked with sweat and what might be blood. Behind her, Tren could see humans rushing to put out fires and tend to wounded. We've driven them off for now, but this isn't over. They'll be back with reinforcements. Captain, your people have already done more than we could have hoped, Tren began. Stone cut him off. We didn't come here to win one battle. We came to end this threat. My people are tracking the retreating ships. We'll find their main fleet. But your ships are damaged, Tren protested. Your people are hurt. Stone's expression hardened. Ambassador, on Earth we have a saying, the wounded animal fights the hardest. The Void Hunters just learned what it means to attack humans. Now they're going to learn what it means when we attack back. As the communication ended, Tren realized with a chill that the real battle was just beginning. The Deathworlders weren't just defending, they were hunting now. And in that moment, despite everything he had just witnessed, he almost felt sorry for the Void Hunters. 3 days after the first battle, the humans worked tirelessly to repair their ships. The Resilience had taken the worst damage, with hull breaches across multiple decks, and its main engines operating at only 60% capacity. In the medical bay, doctors treated both human and Lumari wounded while engineers tried to combine their different technologies to strengthen their defenses. Captain Stone lay on a medical bed, watching the activity around her through pain-clouded eyes. A Void Hunter energy blast had caught her during a boarding action. leaving severe burns across her left side. The doctors had wanted her to rest, but she refused to relinquish command. "Captain, you should be sleeping," Dr. Patel said, checking her bandages with a frown. Stone shook her head. "No time. Our scouts report the Void Hunters are regrouping. At least 15 ships this time." She winced as she tried to sit up. "They'll be here within hours." "The crew needs you alive," Patel argued. "The crew needs to win," Stone replied. "Help me to the bridge." On the command deck, Lieutenant Lee coordinated with the Lumari Defense Forces. The blue-skinned aliens had gained new respect for their human allies after seeing them fight. "The ties, Void Hunters will expect us to use the same tactics," Lee explained. "They're already adapting. Our scouts report they've modified their shields against our targeting method." Commander Nira nodded. "Then we must surprise them again." "Exactly," said a voice from the doorway. Captain Stone entered, leaning heavily on Dr. Patel's arm. Her uniform had been replaced with a medical gown, and her injured side was covered in bandages. Despite this, her eyes were clear and determined. "Captain, you shouldn't—" Lee began. "Save it." Stone cut him off. "We have a battle to win." She lowered herself carefully into the command chair. "The Void Hunters think they know us now. They're wrong." She turned to Engineer Reyes, who had been working non-stop on modifications to their weapons. "Is it ready?" Reyes nodded, dark circles under her eyes from lack of sleep. "We've incorporated Lumari energy conversion technology into our torpedoes. They'll pass through the Void Hunter shields like they aren't even there." "Good," Stone said. "But that's our backup plan." She looked around at the assembled crew, both human and Lumari. "The main plan is something they'll never expect. We're going to let them board us." The room erupted in shocked protests. Stone held up a hand for silence. "Listen carefully. The Void Hunters take planets, they drain resources, they capture beings to use as processing units. That means they won't just destroy us, they'll try to capture the ships and us with them." Her eyes gleamed with a predator's intelligence. "And that's their mistake." Commander Tom Davis of Earth Special Forces checked his team one last time. 20 humans and 10 Lumari volunteers, all equipped with specially designed suits that would mask their life signs from Void Hunter sensors. "Remember," he told them, "we stay hidden until they've committed most of their forces to boarding the Resilience, then we strike from behind." The Lumari looked nervous but determined. They had never trained for close combat like this, but they had learned quickly. Their natural ability to sense energy fields made them perfect for disabling Void Hunter technology once aboard. "What if they don't take the bait?" asked one of the Lumari. Davis smiled grimly. "Captain Stone knows what she's doing. They'll take it." The Void Hunter fleet arrived exactly as predicted. 15 ships in a tight formation designed to counter the human tactics from the previous battle. They spread out, surrounding the waiting human vessels that appeared to be still under repair, weapon systems offline. "They're scanning us," reported Communications Officer Rivera from her station on the Resilience's bridge. "They're focusing on life signs and power levels." Stone nodded. Most of the crew had been evacuated to the planet's surface, leaving only those necessary for the plan. "Show them what they want to see," she ordered. "Power fluctuations, system or failures. Make it look like we're barely hanging on." The Void Hunter ships moved closer, their black hulls seeming to absorb the light around them. Suddenly, energy beams shot out from 3 of them, enveloping the Resilience in a glowing net. "They're trying to capture us," Lee said. Stone smiled through her pain. "Right on schedule. Aboard the lead Void Hunter vessel, the beings known to the galaxy as Harvesters prepared boarding parties. Their pale, elongated forms moved with mechanical precision as they studied the human ships. These creatures fought with unexpected skill, their commander noted, its voice a series of clicks and electronic hums. "Their minds will make excellent processing units. Their bodies will provide valuable biological data." Little did they know that as they prepared to board the human ships, Commander Davis and his team were already moving toward them, their small stealth craft slipping between the Void Hunter vessels undetected. The first Void Hunters entered the Resilience through forced airlocks. They moved cautiously, their weapons ready, scanning for resistance. But the corridors were strangely empty. On the bridge, Captain Stone watched their progress on the security feeds. "Wait for it," she whispered. "Let them commit." When nearly 100 Void Hunters were aboard, spread throughout the ship searching for the crew, Stone hit the emergency command. All over the ship, hidden compartments opened. Human and Lumari fighters emerged, armed with weapons specifically designed to disrupt the Void Hunters' technology. At the same time, Commander Davis's team breached the lead Void Hunter ship. The aliens, focused on boarding the human vessels, never saw them coming. "Now," Stone ordered. The Resilience's engines roared to life, the ship suddenly accelerating toward the closest Void Hunter vessel. The aliens aboard tried to retreat, but hidden barriers blocked their escape routes. "Void Hunters use logic and patterns," Stone explained to the shocked Lumari officers beside her. "They'd never expect us to sacrifice our own ship." The Resilience slammed into the Void Hunter vessel. Instead of an explosion, there was a brilliant flash of energy as Reyes's modifications activated, channeling the impact into a controlled energy burst that disabled both ships' propulsion systems, but left them otherwise intact. "Phase 2, Stone ordered through gritted teeth, fighting through the pain of her injuries. "All teams execute." Throughout the joined ships, human and Lumari fighters engaged the Void Hunters in close combat. The aliens, used to enemies that fled or surrendered, were unprepared for the ferocity of Deathworlders fighting in enclosed spaces. Meanwhile, Davis's team reached the core of the lead Void Hunter ship. The Lumari members immediately began disrupting the energy systems while the humans secured the command center. "We're in," Davis reported back to Stone. "Their systems are like nothing we've seen, but our Lumari friends seem to understand the basics. We're shutting them down ship by ship." Stone looked at the tactical display, watching as Void Hunter vessels began to go dark, their systems failing as Davis's team used the command ship to transmit shutdown codes. "Captain," Lee said, in amazement, "it's working. They're retreating." Stone nodded, finally allowing herself to slump back in her chair. "Deathworlders don't just survive," she said quietly. "We adapt, we overcome, and we protect what matters." As the remaining Void Hunter ships fled, the combined human and Lumari forces cheered. They had turned what seemed to be certain defeat into an unexpected victory. But Captain Stone knew the war wasn't over yet. The Void Hunters would return with new tactics and greater numbers. The real test was still to come. 2 weeks after the second battle, the combined human and Lumari forces prepared for what they knew would be the final confrontation. Intelligence gathered from captured Void Hunter technology revealed that their main fleet, over 50 ships, was approaching Lumari space. In the Grand Council chamber on Lumaria Prime, Captain Alex Stone stood before the gathered leaders. Her injuries had healed enough for her to stand without assistance, though the doctors said she would always carry the scars. "The Void Hunters are coming in force," she explained, gesturing to the holographic display showing the enemy approach. "But this time we'll be ready for them." Ambassador Tren looked at the human captain with newfound respect. "Captain Stone, your people have already sacrificed so much for us. No one would blame you if you took your remaining ships and returned to Earth." Stone's expression hardened. "That's not how humans operate, Ambassador. We don't abandon allies." "Besides," added Lieutenant Lee from his position beside her, "the Void Hunters now know about Earth. If we don't stop them here, they'll eventually come for our world too." The Lumari Council members exchanged glances. Elder Vora spoke up, her ancient voice steady. "We have called for aid from other systems. Several have responded, sending what ships they can spare." "Not out of charity," Counselor Mech added. "They've seen what happens when Deathworlders and Lumari work together. They want to be on the winning side." Stone nodded. She understood politics well enough. "We'll take all the help we can get, but we need to be clear. This battle will be fought our way." On the newly repaired Resilience, Engineer Maria Reyes worked with engineers from 6 different species, integrating their various technologies into something new. "The power couplings won't hold with standard materials," a reptilian engineer from the Draz system pointed out. Reyes grinned, holding up a strange-looking device. That's why we're not using standard materials. This is a human alloy designed for our deepest ocean exploration. Nothing in space can crush it. A Lumari engineer examined it with interest. But can it channel the energy levels we need? It can now, Reyes said. We've incorporated elements from all your systems. This weapon draws power from the shields, the engines, even life support if necessary. That would leave the ship defenseless, the Draz engineer said, alarmed. Reyes shrugged. Sometimes you have to risk everything to win. That's the human way. Commander Tom Davis briefed the combined Special Forces team, now including members from 3 additional species alongside the humans and Lumari. The Void Hunters have adapted their internal security, he explained. Our previous infiltration tactics won't work twice. He pointed to a holographic model of a Void Hunter vessel. But thanks to the data we gathered, we've identified their central processing core. This is where they connect captured minds to their systems. The alien team members looked uncomfortable at the mention of this horror. Our primary mission, Davis continued, is to free those captives and disable the processing core. Without it, their ships lose 30% of their computational ability. A tall, insectoid warrior from the Krill Collective raised a clawed appendage. How do we reach this core? It will be heavily defended. Davis smiled grimly. We go straight through the front door. They'll never expect that. As the final preparations were made, Captain Stone called her senior officers to the Resilience's observation deck. Through the massive windows they could see the assembled fleet, 27 ships from 6 different species, all prepared to stand against the Void Hunters. I wanted you all to see this, Stone said. 2 months ago the Lumari stood alone against an enemy they couldn't hope to defeat. Now, look what we've built together. Lieutenant Wilson smiled. From SOS to Armada, not bad for a bunch of Deathworlders. There's something else, Stone said, her voice growing serious. Admiral Turner sent a message. If we succeed here, Earth is offering a permanent defensive pact to the Lumari and any other worlds that wish to join. The officers exchanged surprised looks. The Galactic Council has kept humanity at arm's length for decades, Lee said. This would change everything. Stone nodded. The universe is more dangerous than anyone wanted to admit. It's time for those who can fight to protect those who cannot. The Void Hunter fleet arrived as a dark cloud against the stars. More ships than anyone had seen gathered in one place before. Their black hulls formed a wall that seemed to swallow the light. All ships, battle formation, Stone ordered from the Resilience's bridge. Remember the plan, let them come to us. The Allied fleet formed a sphere around Lumeria Prime, appearing to present a standard defensive position. The Void Hunters, confident in their superior numbers, moved forward in attack formation. They're scanning us, Rivera reported. Looking for weaknesses in our formation. Stone smiled. Let them look. She turned to Lee. Signal Commander Davis. Operation Liberation is go. As the Void Hunters approached, 5 small fast ships suddenly broke from the Allied fleet. These ships, piloted by Davis and his multi-species team, shot directly toward the largest Void Hunter vessel, their command ship. They're focusing their defenses on Davis, Lee reported. Just as we predicted. Now, Stone ordered. All ships, execute echo maneuver. The Allied fleet suddenly transformed, ships pairing up and linking their shield systems in a way never before seen in galactic warfare. Reyes's new technology allowed them to create energy corridors between vessels, channeling power where it was most needed. The Void Hunters, their tactics based on isolation and overwhelming individual targets, found themselves unable to break through the linked defenses. They're trying to adapt, Lee said, watching the enemy ships adjust their formation. Stone nodded. Too late. She opened a channel to all Allied ships. All vessels, activate the wave. Throughout the fleet, engineers like Reyes activated the combined technology they had created. A pulse of energy shot from ship to ship, growing stronger with each connection until it erupted outward in a massive wave that washed over the Void Hunter fleet. The effect was instant. Their ships didn't explode or break apart. They simply went dark, their systems fried by the energy pulse that had been specifically calibrated to their technology. On the main viewer, Stone watched as Davis's team successfully boarded the Void, Hunter command ship. Minutes later, his voice came through. "Captain, we've secured the processing core. There are thousands of beings here connected to their systems. Lumari, Draz, species I've never seen before. They're alive, but barely. We need medical teams immediately." Stone felt a mixture of horror and triumph. "They're on their way, Commander." "Well done." A month later, representatives from 27 worlds gathered on Lumaria Prime. The Void, Hunter threat had been eliminated, their surviving ships and technology studied and dismantled. More importantly, over 10,000 beings had been freed from their processing cores, though many would need years to recover fully. Captain Stone, now promoted to Admiral, stood before the gathering in her formal uniform. Behind her stood Ambassador Tren and leaders from all the worlds that had joined the fight. "Today," Stone said, "we establish the Guardian Initiative, a multi-species force dedicated to protecting all peaceful worlds from threats like the Void, Hunters." She looked out at the assembled representatives. "Earth was called a death world. We were feared for our strength, our resilience, our capacity for violence. But those same qualities, when directed toward protection rather than conquest, become something else entirely." Ambassador Tren stepped forward. "We called for help, and the Deathworlders answered. Now we stand together, stronger than any of us could be alone." As the representatives signed the new alliance, Admiral Stone reflected on the strange path that had led them here. A desperate call for help had changed the course of galactic history. The feared Deathworlders had become the galaxy's guardians, and somewhere out there, other threats waited. But this time, they wouldn't face divided worlds. They would face a united galaxy, with humanity's strength at its core. The next time someone screamed SOS, they wouldn't need to wait and hope. The Guardian fleet would answer.